I just found it so amazing. Like we were talking yesterday at the beach, and like how you and Bruno have the parent hat, the spouse hat. Then you guys are like the professor coaches, and then you guys are running around doing FightStory and all this stuff. And how do you manage or balance all of that? Because that's a lot of different hats.
Yeah, and I don't know. For me, how I look at it is, when I was fighting and I had Ava, we had to kind of like switch them seamlessly. So when I was like on the mats training, I'd be like in fighter mode, but then I'd have to tend to Ava, so I'd be like, okay, I'm still mom mode, I'm like fighter mode, and keep like turning these like on and off. But I think as time has passed, like we've kind of gotten used to, like, I guess, sewing all those hats into one, where we can seamlessly change between wife and mom and gym owner and competitor. And it's just, I think you shouldn't like limit yourself to just one thing, keeping an open mind, and it's okay to be many different things. I think that's one thing I had to learn, because growing up, I guess I could say I had like a little bit of an identity crisis. I didn't know exactly, like, when people say like, oh, where do you come from? Right. And then I'd be like, I was born in Vancouver, Canada, but I was raised in Hawaii. And then when I started fighting, people are like, well, where do you represent? Like, and then I was torn, because I was like, Canada, Hawaii, but we go by countries. And then I'm like, my dad's from Singapore, my mom's from Korea. I was like, I wish I could put just a bunch of different flags up there, So I've always had to kind of like, who am I? Like I'm all of these things, and it's okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so speaking on that, like with the 4 different countries you just mentioned, like how did that work out when you were choosing at the time for fighting?
So for me, I'm really close to my dad's side of the family.
That's a Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore. My dad was born there. My grandparents are from there, and they've always lived with us. And for competition wise, like I wanted to represent Hawaii, but then that would mean I have to represent the US. And if I have to represent the US, I'd have to represent Canada as well. And it was just a lot of different things. And I was like, you know what? I want to represent Singapore. I want to like make my family proud, my grandparents proud. And that's where I feel connected to. And so that's where we ended up choosing. And like, I'm really grateful I got to represent Singapore on such a global stage.
Unbelievable stage too. Like, and speaking of Singapore, when was the last time you were able to go back?
It was probably when I had my retirement in September of last year.
Oh, last year?
Yeah.
Okay. Any plans to go back to Singapore?
I hope so.
This year?
My grandparents are there right now with my relatives, and it's a place that's like near and dear to our hearts. That's where Bruno and I met. So
that's right.
We hope to go back again sometime. It's just hard. That one's a kind of a long trip too.
I bet. Because what is that, like 16 hours?
Yeah, 16 to 18 hours.
Yeah.
Depending on the layover.
Woo! Yeah. And I remember, speaking of trips, on the way back from the beach, we were talking about like how long how jet lag the Okinawa one was. It was like bang, work, go home, jet lag, and then that was incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, some trips are just really short, like in and out, and usually when we do go on trips, I hope we can have like at least a day or two to explore and hang out, but sometimes we just like in and out like that, and it's okay.
It's an mission, bang, huh? Wow.